You might have noticed that I've been posting lots of computer images on social media taken at various computer museums around the world, mainly because I think these places are fantastic and should be visited and supported. Sometimes I like to make a video about one as well. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring. Near the start of this year, I found myself down a rabbit hole regarding the Trojan Room coffee pot, which I subsequently made a video about. YouTube hated it apparently, but in order to do that video I visited the largest computer museum in the known world. That's because that is the final resting place for this said pot. However, this isn't a video about that. I've done that already. This is a video about the museum itself. Something this magnificent needs to be shared with as many people as possible. Oh, there's a horse. Look at the horse. What's that called? What's the horse called?
I don't know.
Horsey.
Just horsey.
I've made various videos about computer museums in the past, but I've never driven a round trip of over 1,000 miles to get to one. It better be good. Sometimes it just makes more sense to take the Eurotunnel than to fly. At least it does until you're 5 hours into the journey and realise you've made the worst mistake of your life. To be fair, it was worth it for the German McDonald's alone. It's significantly better than what we have in the UK. I cannot express how good it is to eat curly fries with a sweet barbecue dip after 400 miles of continuous driving. This is the place we'd come to see, the Heinz Nixdorf Museums Forum, located in Paderborn, Germany, the biggest computer museum in the world. And thankfully we'd arrived on a Monday, which meant there was barely anyone here other than the odd school trip. You enter straight into a vast lobby with the cafe to your left and a huge space to your right filled with various systems for you to use. But the museum itself doesn't start until you escalate. So, escalate we must. Whoa, look at this floor of unfettered glory. We've got exhibits here dating back 5,000 years, including clay tablets from Sumeria, the abacus, machines that you can interact with. But mainly you're hit with a sea of comptometers, phone exchange equipment, typewriters, essentially early office tools setting the scene for computers, but it just goes on and on. This was actually Heinz Nixdorf's personal collection. He envisaged starting a museum dedicated to computing but died suddenly in 1986. This museum then was the outcome of his employees sticking to the plan, opening in 1996 and now run by a non-profit foundation. For those unaware, Heinz Nixdorf was one of Europe's largest computing pioneers who founded his first computer company in 1952. His machines would go on to compete with IBM and become especially popular in the 70s, and as you might expect you'll find some of them dotted around here. Look at this massive phone exchange. All these phones were hooked up to each other via the exchange, so you could call each other, and you can actually hear the individual relays clicking when you do so as well. All this is literally just the start of the first floor.
Get on the phone too. Yeah? You haven't got any?
Initially, at least, you're essentially walking through a timeline of computing. So next up we hit big pieces of equipment like this IBM 405, an accounting machine or tabulator from 1934, then the IBM 519 from 1946. This is a record machine designed to produce punched cards or copy data to punched cards, working alongside the IBM 602, an electromechanical calculator, and actually the first IBM that could perform division calculations. There was even a pneumatic tube around the corner that was actually set up to demonstrate sending documents around the building, essentially an early internal emailing system. This is cool. This HNF Morse station sign isn't actually a digitally lit sign. It uses little discs that have a light side and a dark side, which flip to make up the rolling messages. As you move through the museum and things overlap in time, you get pockets of different kit. Look, over here is a DEC PDP-8E computer. This is a 1970 12-bit TTL machine, and it's shown alongside a playable version of Space War, the first version of Space War famously created by Steve Russell on a PDP-1 in 1962. Over here is a 1970s ESER computer system, a result of an agreement led by the Soviet Union's Council of Mutual Economic Assistance to standardize computers. This, the 1055 model made by Robotron in Dresden, was designed to be IBM compatible and actually was in use until 1994. But the main point is how absolutely freaking cool it looks. I just love proper industrial style design, you know, sharp edges, block colours, that Soviet feeling. Yes. We come around the corner and we're into these view data terminals. Just look how utterly 80s this is. Absolutely drenched in it. Then over here is a Cray 2 supercomputer. Pretty hot stuff. Just sitting there, doing, well, not much at all. What you're seeing here are the edges of a logic board stacked incredibly tightly together. Because of this, liquid is flowed through to keep everything nice and cool. There are, in fact, setups of pretty much every mainframe or office you could want in here, and if it's not in full-scale form, then there are models like this UNIVAC 1. Over here is a wall of computers and consoles, from the Magnavox Odyssey right up to modern-day consoles, like the Sega Dreamcast. That is a Magnavox Odyssey, you know that, but that is a Magnavox Odyssey prototype known as the Brown Box. Super cool. There are racks and racks of machines. Sinclair stuff we all know and love, of course. Some a lot more German than others, such as this Robotron Heimcomputer. This is actually a 1984 East German computer based around a Z80 CPU. Under that is its successor, the Heimcomputer KC85. If you've got time to spare, you can also play Solitaire. Well, as long as the staff aren't playing it. Then we've got an entire cabinet of mobile phones. Which one did you have? A Nokia? Maybe a Motorola V100? Everywhere you look in here, there are different sections, different timelines. Look at this wall of radios, for example. Or this massive selection of calculators. Whoa, so many calculators of all shapes and sizes. I could probably just stand here all day and stare at the calculators. Such calculation. But there's more to see, so let's walk and talk. But before that, it's time for sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace not only allows you to set up a site in minutes using an array of templates or its Blueprint AI tools, but it also takes care of a wealth of usually time-consuming components. This includes handling search engine optimization and helping ensure your site ranks for the keywords that matter to you. Creating your content is one thing, but having it formatted and presented in a way that's pleasing for both visitors and search engines is something else. Once you're live, the comprehensive analytics suite gives you insights to tweak and build upon your pages where necessary. Head to squarespace.com to get started, then squarespace.com/nostalgianerd to get 10% off a website or domain. It turns out that Nixdorf liked anything with keys, so we have an entire stash of cash registers of varying degrees of fanciness. I mean, they do calculate after all. Sometimes the odd modern-day Frankenstein is thrown in. This is a steampunk-style computer workstation manufactured from a bunch of raw materials: iron, steel, wood, brass, glass, including a 150-year-old case frame. I've never seen somewhere that shows communications and telephone cabling in such pure, exquisite form. But there's lots of telecommunication stuff here as well. How about some freaking activities? Phone freaking. This little stand highlights the Captain Crunch boatswain call whistle that John Draper used to create a tone of 2600 Hz in order to hack AT&T's network and make free long-distance calls. They've also got the Blue Box, a more sophisticated device that basically did the same as Draper's whistle. It only worked with relay-based networks, but here you can actually try it out, which is pretty neat. Sticking with telecommunications, this is a computer kit from the Chaos Computer Club, which sold for 300 German marks. It was made because the government only allowed approved modems at the time, which were incredibly expensive. With this kit, you could just dial the number as normal and use the phone coupler to send and receive signals. Interesting fact, the original seals on the couplers were from toilets, thus the nickname Data Loo. Now, disappointingly, we only had 4 hours at the museum, so seeing everything whilst filming was a bit of a challenge, and there really is a lot to see and do. I spent a good chunk of it just getting excited about the see-through escalators, which Marta didn't share, but I'm sure there's other places where these things are as well. I mean, here it's just obvious and in your face, and I don't know, it's exciting. Now, what do we have here? Ah yes, an IBM personal computer. Its internals? An IBM 5100, a luggable from 1975 with a built-in tape deck? Whoa! Oh, and an upside-down Windows 3.1 box. Let's get that out on a tray. Nice. What's this? An Apple I replica, I believe? Then this is the Fairlight CMI, one of the very first instruments to incorporate MIDI. Very nice indeed, shame it wasn't switched on. And here is the first integrated circuit created by Jack Kilby at Texas Instruments on a germanium chip, which were initially connected to each other with gold wires. There's honestly just so much to see here. Massive hard drive, science fiction robots. Oh, and real robots. There's one of these on each floor which you can literally ask to take you to an exhibit and it will. It'll even tell you stuff about it. There are plenty of robots. Here's Beppo, the broom-pushing arm that works all day long. Armed with a mission of moving 4 million red plastic particles and creating some order, the robot's movements can actually be influenced by visitors. It can actually get annoyed. This is a Nadine social robot created in 2013. It's the only publicly accessible android in the whole of Europe which can be interacted with right here, even through speech. Now, I didn't notice while filming this, but she was actually tracking me as I moved to the side. It's actually a little unnerving looking back. My interactions with the robot were limited, mainly as I was terrified by the hand movements, but it's pretty cool nonetheless. What's less cool is this. This is the Pain Station. Originally an art object created in 2001 by 2 students. Basically, you place your hand on the side here and play a nice game of Pong.
Let's go film this bit first.
However, if you let the ball through and it hits one of the panels, you get a corresponding pain.
Ah, it's warm!
We're talking heat, slapping, electricity. This thing does not go easy on you. The pain is real, and it actually ripped some skin off my hand.
Ah, it's warm again! Ah! That's really painful. That's really painful.
Good times! But the pain doesn't matter. There's so much to see and do here. I fully recommend checking it out if you're ever nearby. Plus, it's not that far from Helmond in the Netherlands, so you can also visit the Home Computer Museum, which is another fantastic place I've made several videos on in the past. I'll link those below along with the museum website. Obviously, the main reason we're here was to see the Trojan Room coffee pot, which was located in the internet wall filled with interesting objects. So I've ended various takes in front and beside the coffee pot, as well as various takes outside the front of the building.
It's a freezing cold afternoon in Paderborn in Germany, but it's okay because I'm here to come and see the first... fuck off.
Before 4 hours were rapidly up and we had to drive furiously through Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium and France to get back to Calais. Back on the train, back in the UK, and back on the left side of the road. I was actually starting to quite enjoy driving on the right, to be honest. But boom! There it is.